All right, people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you hear the clicks and dings and clicks, it's because my mic is not working and I got to use what I got to use. I got to go old school. So, this is what I wanted to come live for really quick. Please hit that like button if you like what you see. This is what I wanted to come live for. Testing. Very good. All right, people. There we go. Camera's looking a little suspect, but that's okay. So I wanted to come live for because I wanted to kind of go over this information, and it was just easier for me to do that coming live via YouTube because my StreamYard for me is not acting right. So if this is, it looks a little shady. Hold on, y'all. All right. So why are we here? We are here because more information coming out for Jonathan Majors. So I may have to do real old school and use my phone to show you what I'm looking at, okay? So let's get to the spot where we need to be. So I read the report about Jonathan Majors and from the insider Lori Italiano. Um, the Jonathan Majors assault case, Grace Jabari appears unharmed, exclusive video, and I showed that video in my last video. So what I wanted to show you all today, again, I want to make sure because I go live in StreamYard, I don't go live here, so I don't see where I can do any of those things, but we're going to go old school. So what we have here, if you all can see that, I hope you all can see that. It basically says that the see actor Jonathan Majors selfie of scratches, torn clothes, and fight with his ex turned accuser, and you know her name. So this is let me go back up. It just went down for me, didn't it? So if you could see this from my phone, this is the scratch that he is reporting right here. Okay, I want to get it out of the purview of that light. Let's see if we can see it like that better. Yeah, that's the scratch. We'll scroll up. Let me see if I can make this bigger. This is the scratch on the arm that he reported. And this is from the March 30th, the March 25th incident. Here is the coat. This is supposed to be the $1,000 coat, y'all. There is the coat that was the buttons. Let me see. You see here and you see here, the buttons are supposed to be missing, and they are. And finally, this is the jacket, and here it's torn from him reporting that she pulled the jacket and it tore the jacket. And lastly, I'm going to blow it up, but I want you to see it first here as the evidence show. And then this is supposed to be the pillow when he woke up and there was his face was stuck to the pillow because it was bleeding, and that's the injury that he reported. All right. I wanted to show that. But I also wanted to talk about this. This was filed today. Well, actually, it was filed on September 12th. This is a 23-page dismissal. This was filed in court that the defense is using to dismiss the case. You all remember when I told you on a few videos back about that the prosecution had a time limit. They had a 90-day time limit to prosecute this case. We can come back here. To prosecute this case. So this is the defense outlining what they believe. And you can find this 23-page document in the very first article of Lori Italiano that was filed, that she posted today about the Jonathan Majors assault case. Grace Jabari appears unharmed, exclusive video. Marvel star says DA hid. You can see that in that particular article. You'll find this in here, and you'll also find a 6-page document in there as well. But it's when you go over the words, it's going to click. Let me see if I can find the words. But they're going to talk about it, and it's going to be a clickable thing that you can click, and then you can print this out. I'll just go over the highlights of it really, really quick. I don't want to make this long. I just wanted to get this information up and out. But basically, what this document is saying is that the prosecution did not meet the 90-day time limit. That they were withholding they were withholding a couple of pieces of information, particularly the report from the ER doctor about how Mr. Bari could have gotten the injury. The doctor had stated that it is more common that the injury that she sustained on her finger comes from someone either hitting something, or it's coming from like maybe a fall and you fell on the figure. So they said it was a direct injury. When they described the twisting of the finger or whatever that was, they said that that would be an uncommon way for her to receive that injury that way. So according to what the ER doctor stated, it was she had to have gotten the injury from something, her hitting something directly, and her may possibly falling on her arm and falling on her hand after the fact could have caused the injury. The defense is also saying that, that was evidence that they withheld. They also talked about, let me get to the pages. They talked about the prosecution withholding 911 calls. Now, we know that Mr. Majors made a 911 call to the police when they found Mr. Bari in the closet, when him and the handyman found Mr. Bari in the closet. But what we didn't know is that the night of the incident, there were a couple of 911 calls made. And when the police arrived, that Mr. Bari and Mr. Majors were not there. So there were 911 calls made that evening. Now, according to what the defense has in their document, that the in their document for dismissal is that the prosecution did not mark that evidence as they were supposed to. According to New York law, they didn't mark it. What they did was that they drowned that information in the sea of the 2 terabyte um, bit that they gave to the defense at the, I think it was at the last hearing. So they're arguing that. Also, what they're arguing too is that the prosecution had interviews not only with the driver who had mentioned, and they had it in quotations, that he thought Miss Jabari was acting psycho in the car. They also interviewed, or we found out that she made a call that morning to her friend in England and was explaining to her that she had gotten handsy with Mr. Majors, and that she was describing what happened with him being arrested and all of these little different things, and she made a telephone call with that. They also talked to a friend of hers, I guess it's Ben Totley. They talked with Mr. Totley, and Mr. Totley had explained to the prosecution that Miss Jabari had reported to him that she was not afraid of Mr. Majors, and that she had gone back to the penthouse in the apartment, and I guess he had left her there. She wasn't going to leave, even though that there was a restraining order, a partial restraining order issued, that she wasn't going to leave the apartment. They mentioned that. Let me see. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let me get my glasses, y'all. Let me see. Thank you. You're the only one talking about this. Everyone else is still focused on the in and out scuffle. That was the red herring, y'all. I saw that and I was like, whether I believed what it was or not, this was more interesting. This is the most interesting thing. So they're going to go to court, I think, on Friday, and the this is coming from the defense. They're filing a motion to dismiss. Let me see. There was some other things that she Oh, they also talked about that according to the defense, they are arguing the fact that the prosecution tried to bury the incident card. And they are filing for that because that was information that they were supposed to disclose to them. And again, as I talked about before, they talked about the 911 calls. Let's see. They also talked about that the prosecution had put forth, the defense had asked for information in regards to Mr. Bari, with her leaving the country or some information like that. And they're saying that the prosecution informed them that they were not providing her any compensation for anything. And then they find out that the prosecution had talked with Mr. Bari's attorney to pay for her to come back from England to testify in court. So we find out that information. We didn't know that. And you all, I'm getting this information. This is from The Insider, written by Lori Italiano. There are 2 articles that she has written, and I'm up here kind of old school because I couldn't get into my StreamYard like I need to. But the article is entitled "Jonathan Majors Assault Case: Grace Jabari Appears Unharmed." Exclusive video. Marvel star says DA hid. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Crazy stuff. When did that come out? It came out today. So the past couple of days, Ernest, thanks for watching. The past couple of days, people have been talking about this In-N-Out Burger video and fight, because apparently he was going to In-N-Out Burger and there was some girls fighting and he broke up the fight. So everyone is talking about that because you've noticed that when information comes out about Mr. Major, there's always this one piece of information, then you'll get some legal information, and then you'll probably get a hit piece tomorrow. So you just watch out for that. But we're just going over a few of the information. Y'all, please like the video for me, please. I appreciate it. Here we go. They spent a lot of information talking about this iCard and how the prosecution was, in actuality, the prosecution, according to this, was at odds with the police detective, and I'm going to get his name in a minute, because he wanted to go ahead and investigate the case, and they had asked him to kind of hold off of that. I want to get his name. Let's see. I'll get his name in a minute, because I talked about what the ER doctor talked about. It also talked about that they failed to disclose the information that while she was at the hospital, she had a psychiatric exam. Here we go. So this is what they were talking about, that they were burying a whole bunch of information in that 2 terabyte hard drive that they presented. And like I said before, they talked about the statements from the driver who witnessed the initial fight. He categorized Ms. Jabari as psycho girl. We also have statements made to the people by Miss Holly Blakely, a friend of Ms. Jabari's, who spoke to her on the phone on March the 25th to the effect that Ms. Jabari had admitted that she had been really scrappy, and they have i.e. violent with Mr. Majors, and that she did not know how she hurt her finger. So not only did she tell the police when the police came that she didn't know how she hurt her finger, she also did a separate telephone call to a friend and explained to her that she didn't know how she hurt her finger. But she told the prosecution and the police that she hurt her finger when her and Mr. Majors were fighting. They've got video footage that was in the police possession that L'Oreal Italiano has released of 8 to 10 minutes after the incident. They're out on the street, and I was very surprised when I watched that video that there's also sound, and you do hear her explain to the people that were helping her, the 3 witnesses that witnessed the second incident when they were outside the car, when she was trying to pull him back into the car, because apparently all of this didn't happen in the span of 5 or 6 minutes. So the incident happened at one time, 10 minutes passed, then another incident happened, and then he went into one taxi and she went into another taxi. And then the three people that you see in that video, those are the three people that she went to the club with. Okay. Yeah, so they had that video footage, and they're saying to the judge that she was not only completely unharmed, she was describing what happened, and she repeatedly talked about him. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody that's come in. I appreciate y'all coming. I'm just reading over the 23-page dismissal document that the defense has filed, and going over some of the evidence and the things that were not presented before. If you looked at Lori Italiano's video, first article, there is a video. There's actually a couple of videos. Also in that article, there's a second article that goes more depth. But there is an article showing him being scratched. There's an article showing his arm being scratched. There's video. There is pictorial evidence showing his clothes being torn. So all these things that the defense had talked about earlier. Now you have visual evidence to see that. I'm going to continue what was in this 2 terabyte hard drive that they presented at the last minute. It says there is a note of people's interview with Ben Tati, and she's Miss Jabari's friend who cared for her on the afternoon of March the 23rd, who reported that contrary to the people's account of Miss Jabari as being afraid to return to Mr. Major's home, he testified, or he reported to the prosecution, that not only was she wasn't afraid, she wanted to go back to the apartment, and she didn't want to leave the apartment. And so the defense is saying that they didn't disclose that. Now, you all remember that when I talked about that the prosecution had a certain amount of days to prosecute a misdemeanor. So in this article, Priya Chaudhry is going over how the prosecution did not meet that 90-day deadline. Actually, when you count up all the days that they have, it says that she's past due by 15 days. So she's outlining that in this article as well. And they're talking about all the stuff that they did not disclose. So I don't know. It's not telling me anything about a video from the ride share, the car, or the Uber that they were in. It didn't say anything about that video, but they do have the testimony of that driver. And I'm just going to say that's pretty much it in the nutshell. I'm going to go over it just right now, and then I'm going to end this video unless y'all have some questions for me that I can answer. But the biggest thing that, like I said, they have the video evidence showing Miss Jabari after the first incident where she said all of the scrapping took place, but you see her in the video with the 3 people. She's talking about how she saw the numbers on the phone, and how he's cheating on her. She's taken her hair, she's gone up and down and up and down. You do not see a cut. She's using her fingers have much dexterity in it. And yeah, thanks to Khalif Browder. This is where that law comes from for those 90 days. You're right, Chillmonger. It's coming from that Khalif Browder case. I wonder why the prosecutor buried the evidence. Probably because they wanted to win. I don't know if that's ethical or not. But again, they probably were used to being able to do that in the past, but they can no longer do that. Because that law has come into place that they cannot do that. So New York is ahead of the curve on that. But the interesting thing, the things that came out is, and I'll just go over it really quickly, and if y'all don't have any questions, I'm gonna go ahead and end this live. But number one is that they had the video from that street corner showing Miss Jabari talking to the three people that she went to the club with and explaining what happened. And we also see in that video that Mr. Majors comes walking and he walks by. And, when he comes by, then she goes into her waterworks in tears and they go after him. And one of the guys that was there was, I guess he called himself, was going to handle Mr. Majors, but his girlfriend was very quick to respond like, nah, that ain't what you want. That's not the life you really want to live. So they went, and I guess that's when subsequently the second incident happened. So they according to the defense, they suppressed that information. They also suppressed the fact that there were also other 911 calls been made. Not only the 911 call that Mr. Majors made, but there were a couple of 911 calls made that evening when the incident happened, and that the police didn't arrive until after they had left, because again, they had went into their subsequent cabs and went on their merry way. Also, what was the defense is saying that they did not disclose to them that oh, this was the big thing that I thought, and I forgot to tell you all. When Mr. Majors arrived home, she had, her last message to him was that she was going to unalive herself. Okay. And that was like at 8 o'clock in the morning. When he arrived home, there was this big picture of them, I guess, that as a couple in the house. And then all of these mementos and things like that. It was almost like a shrine or something. That's the way it sounded like to me. It was described in here. There was this big shrine of all of this, all their favorite books, all their favorite stuff. The stuff was just a big old shrine. And so when he went through the house, he didn't see her. He called out to her. And then he went and found that the door was locked. He called the handyman. And then when the handyman gets there, they had to literally break down the door. He breaks down the door, and that's when they found her. And they described the scene as a mess, that she was in the closet, she was half naked, that there was vomit on the bed, on the floor, there were pills all spread out, all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, wow, wow. That floored me. But anyway, I forgot to tell you all that. But let me go back. The prosecution did not tell them that there was extra 911 calls. The prosecution did not release the interviews from the Ben Tatum, and he was the friend that she stayed with when she couldn't stay at the penthouse, but she did go back to the penthouse, and he relayed to the prosecution that he did not see that Miss Jabari was afraid of them. But then you remember the prosecution filed this big the full restraining order, because they were saying that Mr. Barry was just so afraid of him. Well, he contradicts that. Also, you have they have the text messages and the things like that she sent him while they were separated. Uh, and the conversation, they had an interview with her friend Holly back in England, where she explained to Holly that she had gotten scrappy with Jonathan Majors, but she still didn't know how she hurt her finger. And all of that happened on on the 25th. So that is that in the nutshell. So y'all can go back and y'all can watch that In-N-Out burger fight and take and do whatever you want with it. The first time I saw it, and then I saw this information, I thought about Scooby-Doo, and one of the Scooby-Doo episodes where Fred would say, "That's a red herring. Y'all are spending so much time worrying about this In-N-Out fight," which was fine. But I just, all right. That's all I got, y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Like I said, I did this stream because it was just easier to do that and tell the information than it would be for me to try to do a whole video and stuff like that, because my StreamYard is acting up. Does anybody have any more questions about what's going on? This document is attached to that first Lori Italiano uh, article that was put out today at, looks like 11:52 a.m. So you can find that and it's an interesting read. Oh, it's an interesting read. Uh, again, y'all, if I have any more information, if my StreamYard comes up better, I definitely will do a video, and then I'll be able to show you all the stuff that I have. I'm not as proficient with how to do this on YouTube. All right, people. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.